Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 92. Hot Springs. Ha ha ha, Kita said to Zhi Xiaoduo, give me another hug. Zhi Xiaoduo had 3 black lines on his forehead, but Kita said, Great Immortal Xiang was next to us just now, so I didn't dare to eat your tofu. Zhi Xiaoduo didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He was being hugged against Kita's chest, and being rubbed around. They sat on the same sofa, and Zhi Xiaoduo leaned against one side of it. Each of them wore a bathrobe. Zhi Xiaoduo put his bare feet on Kita's knees as the attendant put the coffee on the bracket beside the armrests of the sofa. Zhi Xiaoduo took a sip of it and fell deep in thought. Hey. Kita patted Zhi Xiaoduo's ankle. Hey. Zhi Xiaoduo looked up at Kita. Mrs. Xiang. Kita laughed, it feels totally different now. Zhi Xiaoduo almost spit out his coffee. Kita shook his head and seemed to be sighing. This was the actual second time that they had met after their parting in Zhengzhou. The time before this, Zhi Xiaoduo had lost his memory of his friends and regarded Kita as a stranger. Later, because he and Xiang Cheng embarked on a flight, they were in a hurry and couldn't say goodbye to Kita. However, that spy was like a thorn in Zhi Xiaoduo's heart. He did not believe that Kita, Chen Zhen, Qi Wei, or even Qian Hezi would betray them. It seemed that there was a strange relationship between them which connected them closely. Zhi Xiaoduo then thought about how, after the Exorcist exam, everyone had gathered in front of Zhou Mokuo. He had to admit that Zhou Mokuo was a very good judge of people. The special action team that he had set up again acted like an invisible contract. He had also accurately matched everyone's personalities, making it so that they would never betray each other. Chen Zhen did his best to protect them, perhaps not just because they were friends. In many aspects, Chen Zhen could understand Xiang Cheng. They understood each other and knew that the other party did not have any selfish motives. To tell the truth, I really kind of wanted to fall in love with you that day and screw the consequences. Kita said. What do you mean screw the consequences? Zhi Xiaoduo said, even if you wanted to give in, I didn't agree. Kita let out a hee hee hee. Zhi Xiaoduo looked at him, a warm feeling arose in his heart, and he lowered his head and scrolled through his phone. Do you have Feng Li's number? Kita rubbed his fingers and said, help me out, introduce me ba. I'm looking for it for you right now. Zhi Xiaoduo said. Kita drew close to Zhi Xiaoduo's side and scrolled through, looking for Feng Li's number. Zhi Xiaoduo, you can't have fallen in love with him at first sight, right? Kita replied, love ma, is just that simple. What? Is love at first sight not okay? Zhi Xiaoduo, but he's a Yaoguai, so you have to think it through. Kita said, didn't you also find a Yaoguai for yourself? Zhi Xiaoduo replied, that's why I'm telling you to think it through. When you fall in love with a Yaoguai, there will be many dangers. Behind the big sofa, another person came to the coffee booth. The waiter asked, sir, what do you want to drink? Zhi Xiaoduo looked back, but the big sofa blocked his view. He lowered his voice and said, I'm not joking with you. I know. Kita replied, it's fine. Zhi Xiaoduo said, what do you like about him? Kita took the cell phone, saved the phone number, and said, he's a fox, a small one, delicate and beautiful, so cute. Don't you like him? That's just like appreciating a 3D model. Zhi Xiaoduo said impassively. Kita let out a hee hee, scraped a finger along Zhi Xiaoduo's cheek, saved the cell phone number, and began to try and figure out how to chase Feng Li. Are you sure? Zhi Xiaoduo asked again. Very sure. Kita said, wait, do foxes smell? I forgot about that. Not about that. Zhi Xiaoduo could not laugh or cry. He doesn't smell. But he is a Yaoguai. Remember who's in Yang? Kita thought for a moment, nodded, looked at Zhi Xiaoduo, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, whose Anyang lived for 1,000 years, and Fengli is the same. With such long lives, they will always meet many people who like them or lovers that they liked. He just has a wealth of emotional experiences then. Kita said, I understand. It is unlikely that he will fall in love with a mortal. Zhi Xiaoduo said, besides, can you live for so long? Kita froze, thought for a while, and then Zhi Xiaoduo said, suppose you like each other, and he is still alive, but you get old and die. Then what? Kita replied, whatever, let me date him first, then we'll figure it out. Zhi Xiaoduo. If I call him now, do you think he will answer? Kita said, or can I use your cell phone to call him? What are you going to tell him? Zhi Xiaoduo puffed up his metaphorical fur, and he said, I don't even know him that well. Anyway, get to know him first, and then see ba. Besides, Xiang Cheng's matters have troubled him for so long. Shall I ask him out to dinner? Kita pushed away Zhi Xiaoduo's hand and said, no matter, I just want to talk to him for a moment. Let's chat first, then we'll see. I'll use my phone to call first, and if he doesn't pick up, then I'll use yours. Kita hit the call button without any hesitation, and Zhi Xiaoduo immediately blew up. He thought, no way, right? You're really calling him? You're not embarrassed at all. 3 seconds later, behind the sofa, a cha-cha-cha rhythm sounded, and Fei Wang's voice, full of laziness and elegance, echoed through the cafe. This is the wrong number, I'm not your whatever. Even if I have the same name as the one you're looking for, so what? I already told you it's the wrong number, why would I lie to you? Kita. Zhi Xiaoduo. You are so nervous that you want to cry. Years later, when you think of today, will you think it worth it? Fengli, looking very travel-worn, got up from the cafe and walked towards Zhi Xiaoduo's sofa. He put his right hand on his left shoulder and saluted Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo immediately stood up. Hello. Fengli said in a refined and courteous way, I'm late and have disturbed you too, my deepest apologies. Kita hung up, and Zhi Xiaoduo had his hand on his forehead. The two of them were completely at a loss for what to say. An hour later, after they ate, everyone gathered in the coffee shop. Xiang Cheng's men cleared the area, shut the door, and took up guard positions at the gate and in front of the garden. Zhi Xiaoduo, Xiang Cheng, Xian Hezi, Kita, and Xiao Bin sat on the sofa. Fengli and Lang Dog stood behind Zhi Xiaoduo, and Huang Shan stood behind Xiang Cheng. In front of the group, there sat a man tied to a chair, with a sack on his head. The runes on the sack were flashing as they served their purpose of blocking any noise. Fengli took a cup and mixed a soft drink. Huang Shan poured some wine for Xiang Cheng. Do we have to be so formal? Zhi Xiaoduo thought to himself that he felt like some wife sitting beside a domineering president. He was embarrassed to death. To summarize the information we have now, Fengli finished mixing the juice and handed it to Zhi Xiaoduo. He brought the tea pastries over, bowed, put everything away, and said, the Yaoguai sent by the blood demon have left the Holy Land and rushed to Wu Mountain at full speed. They are faster than me, so they must have entered Fengdu County by now. Why has the blood devil taken such a major move? Xiang Cheng asked. The only possible explanation is, Fengli replied, the blood demon realized that your golden arrows might have an irreversible effect on Mara, and it needs to try to prevent you from obtaining the golden arrows. As for the Exorcist Committee, Kita replied, Beijing has gathered the Chongqing exorcists, and there are about 400 of them. When I came here, all of them had already been mobilized and had started to carry out the task. Zhi Xiaoduo said, I don't understand. Why is everyone so sure that the golden arrows are at Mount Wu? We will have to ask him that. Fengli said, then turned to Jianwen. Xiang Cheng motioned for them to start, and Lang Dog went forward and took the bag off Jianwen's head. Jianwen had been beaten black and blue, but he still sneered as he looked at the people present. Jian Wen. Chao Ben said, "Look at your resume. It's this one, yes. It just arrived from Beijing." Jian Wen refused to talk with Chao Ben. Zhi Xiaoduo picked up his resume and looked at Jian Wen with shocked eyes. "He's 57 years old this year." Chao Ben's steady voice rang out, "The members of the Special Action Team of the original Yaoguai Management Bureau have mastered the information of the 9th branch, and they are not under the jurisdiction of the Exorcist Committee headquarters. They act alone, and they pursue exorcists who committed crimes and establish criminal files for them. 40 years ago, after the leader of the Special Action Team died in the line of duty, he took over its management. You killed so many exorcists." Zhi Xiaoduo couldn't believe his eyes. "Why?" Jian Wen sneered. Chao Ben continued, "The purpose of the Special Action Team was to finish all the missions that could not be completed by anyone else, but when the command of the team came into your hands, it gradually became a team of exorcists to eliminate all disobedient exorcists. After 40 years of service, it has imprisoned and killed a total of 93 exorcists." "Who gave you these orders?" The room was completely silent. Jian Wen said coldly, "Chen Zhen's death is not far away, with how he handed you this top-secret information." Chao Ben stood up without saying a word and punched Jian Wen in the stomach. Jian Wen coughed loudly and violently bowed over. Zhi Xiaoduo gave Xiang Cheng the information sent by Chen Zhen, and the two of them exchanged a glance. Chao Ben was from the Ministry of Supervision, and he had a very good way of interrogating people. He did not ask too many questions directly to Jian Wen, instead simply getting to the main point. He turned on his cell phone, pressed the speaker phone, and put it on the table. On it was a recording about Jian Wen, and there was some feedback in the sound. Yao Ji took away 3 of the magic artifacts of Akalanatha. All of them held their breath for a moment, then Zhou Mokuo's voice sounded. "Zhou Mokuo, don't say any more. This mission has brought about a terrible failure. The Mount Ba matter ends here, and as the main person responsible, I willingly resign." "Jian Wen, Minister Zhou, this matter is not over yet. I need to check the relics Xiang Jianhua left behind." Zhou Mokuo roared in response. "He's already dead, what else do you want to do now?" This was a recording made in the office 10 years ago. Although it had already been 10 years since then, Zhi Xiaoduo could still clearly feel Zhou Mokuo's anger and sorrow. "The Battle of Mount Ba, 10 years ago," Chao Ben said, "came about because the Special Action Team contacted the Exorcist Committee to find out the relationship between Yao Ji and exorcist Xiang Jianhua. They followed the lead that they had, peeling back layer after layer, but in the end, the Exorcist Committee paid a heavy price and called an end to it. Yao Ji died at Ba Mountain." Chao Ben said, "Hu Ziniang took away Xiang Jianhua's family heirlooms. In the next 10 years, the Special Action Team did nothing at all." Jian Wen sneered and looked at Chao Ben. Chao Ben said, "In these 10 years, you didn't appear again until Hu Ziniang appeared in Zhengzhou once again. He used 2 corrupted Akalanatha weapons to aggravate the Mara seed in Xiangcheng. You're very smart." Jian Wen said coldly, "The supervisory department has done a lot of work, and everything you've said is very reasonable. Unfortunately, I don't know who my superior is." "It doesn't matter who your superior is." Chao Ben said, "Why did you choose to cause trouble at this time? I heard that you began to intervene with the Exorcist Committee after the Zhengzhou incident, and the first thing you did was not to interrogate the offender Xiang Cheng, but to check the whereabouts of the weapons." Chao Ben looked into Jian Wen's eyes and said coldly, "So, your superior finally knew that if Xiang Cheng got the golden arrows, he wouldn't be able to preserve his own measly life either." Jian Wen. Chao Ben keenly noticed Jian Wen's pause. He raised the bag and went forward to cover Jian Wen's head again. Huang Shan got up and pushed Jian Wen out. "Xiang Cheng." The group of them still hadn't returned to their senses, and Kita looked in disbelief at Jianwen and then at Chao Ben. Chao Ben put a note on the table, on which was a seal. He said, using the black-winged great peng sealed in the Femen temple makes it obvious that this was a very targeted attempt. I don't understand. Zhi Xiaoduo was already confused and asked, why is it that his superior wants to kill Xiang Cheng and is looking for the golden arrows? Zhi Xiaoduo picked up the seal, which was a symbol he had never seen before. There was a circle of rays radiating outward from the center of the symbol. What do you think this is? Chao Ben asked. Everyone looked at Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo did not know what it was. He asked, did you find it on Jianwen? Chao Ben nodded, and Zhi Xiaoduo said, it should be a one-way control symbol. This circle of rays is for control. As for what it's controlling, I don't know. Maybe. Zhi Xiaoduo suddenly understood something and said, it's for controlling the black-winged great peng. It's possible. Xiang Cheng replied, can you find any source or points of origin from the seal? Zhi Xiaoduo shook his head, pondered for a moment, and then said, it's a very old spell. We hardly see this kind of rune now. Zhi Xiaoduo let everyone look it over, but no one recognized it. Xian Hezi got up, using his crutch to support himself as he dragged his injured leg out. Everyone else started to discuss who was behind Jianwen. Fengli was also at a loss. After my little brother died, his enchantments of being able to see into people's hearts also dissipated. Fengli replied, I only have the ability of transformation, I can't do that. What if you become a person familiar with Jianwen to try and get some more information out of him? Zhi Xiaoduo suggested. Fengli thought about it and replied, it may work, but the process will be very tortuous. After all, we don't know anything about him now. Let him go tomorrow. Xiang Cheng said, follow him and try this method, and dig up as much as you can. Fengli nodded. Xian Hezi came back in with his crutch, leading an old man inside. Xiang Cheng and the others got up immediately. The old man nodded, and Xian Hezi said, this is my Bai Shishu. Xian Hezi let Bai Sui sit down. Bai Sui sighed and said, I didn't expect that I would bring trouble to you young people despite my age. I'm really sorry this time. Everyone hurried to modestly refute this. Bai Sui glanced at Fengli, then at Zhi Xiaoduo, and then scanned them one by one. Xiang Cheng said, no need to be polite, we were the ones who caused you trouble this time. N. Bai Sui said, this old man and your exorcist committee are usually like well water and river water, but since I've gotten sucked into it, naturally I'll tell you everything I know. Shishu was trapped by Jianwen earlier. Xian Hezi said, later, when I went to save him, Dinghai took him away. Fortunately, Kita arrived in time. Bai Sui chuckled and said, otherwise, I would have been swallowed by that dowdy. Zhi Xiaoduo laughed. He thought that Xian Hezi's Shishu would also be an old man with a strange temper and had never imagined that he would be so easygoing. Have you divined the whereabouts of the golden arrows? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. I'm ashamed to say so, Bai Sui replied, but no. Everyone. Then. That's why that guy had me with him the entire time. Bai Sui said, however, this old man probably knew about something else, and Jianwen also asked me about it, which was the sacred land. Who knew where he got this information from, but the golden arrows are probably in the sacred land. Zhi Xiaoduo held his breath, and Fengli frowned and said, the sacred land? Have you been there? That's really bad, we've gone in the complete opposite direction. I have never been to the sacred land since I was born. Bai Sui thought for a moment and said leisurely, the sacred land that I'm talking about isn't the same as the one you're talking about either. What? Fengli found that a bit difficult to believe at that moment. Zhi Xiaoduo vaguely felt that they had touched on the key point of all this. The earliest location of the sacred land is north of here, along the three gorges of the Yangtze River to Fengdu. Bai Sui pointed out of the window and explained, many years ago, around the time of the northern Song dynasty, the sacred land of the Yao was still located in the depths of Mount Wu. The sacred land is in Mount Wu. Almost everyone shouted. Bai Sui nodded and said, I think so. After we moved, only then did Jian Wen make me divine for him. This old man was not good at learning and could not figure out the location of the golden arrows, but the divination points to the fact that it must be related to Mount Wu. So, Jian Wen took me along the lower reaches of the Yangtze River. Once we got to Mount Wu, I began to try to divine the exact whereabouts of the golden arrows. This old man has nothing to say about the rest of what happened. Bai Sui took a sip of tea. Zhi Xiaoduo had gotten a very important piece of information. The original sacred land was in Mount Wu. In other words, there had been a battle on Mount Wu that was even earlier than the battle on Mount Ba. We'll set out tomorrow, Xiang Cheng said. Zhi Xiaoduo felt that the key to getting all the answers was on Mount Wu. Xiang Cheng arranged a team to go from Wolong to Fengdu tomorrow. Everyone needed to act separately. Xian Hezi was injured, so he was responsible for escorting Bai Sui back to Chongqing. Kita and Xiao Ben were a group, and they were to wait in the dark. Xiang Cheng would avoid the eyes and ears of the exorcists and enter Mount Wu to find the site of the sacred land. Feng Li and Zhi Xiaoduo would follow behind him. Kita raised his hand. Talk. Xiang Cheng said. Can we choose our own teammates? Kita asked. Zhi Xiaoduo. Who do you want to team up with? Xiang Cheng said impatiently. Kita said, Xiao Ben can go to your group, and I can swap out. Right, hey, say something Xiao Ben looked at Kita and then at Xiang Cheng. Can you protect Xiaoduo? Xiang Cheng said, I don't feel at ease. No. Kita said, I mean. Zhi Xiaoduo held his forehead, not wanting to watch anymore, and walked away. Zhi Xiaoduo returned to their room, but Xiang Cheng didn't come up. He looked down from the balcony again, and under the glass dome of the garden coffee house, Xiang Cheng sat alone in a daze. What are you thinking about? Zhi Xiaoduo sent a text message to Xiang Cheng. The screen of the cell phone lit up. Xiang Cheng put down his beer, picked up his cell phone, and glanced at it. Thinking of that beautiful Jing Jing. Zhi Xiaoduo, I'll come down to accompany you. Xiang Cheng, no, I want to sit by myself. It's good to know you're upstairs. Zhi Xiaoduo left Xiang Cheng alone to take a bath. A moment later, someone knocked at the door. Zhi Xiaoduo turned off the water and put on his bathrobe to open the door. He thought Xiang Cheng had come back, but the visitor was Feng Li. Feng Li was also wearing a bathrobe. He had a bath towel in his hand, and he bowed slightly and said, the boss asked me to attend to your orders. Would you like to go to the hot spring? Zhi Xiaoduo thought, that's good, I'm not tired of soaking in the hot spring yet, it's just that there were too many earlier people, so it was a little embarrassing. He followed Feng Li downstairs. He felt that Feng Li had something to say to him, so he sent a text to Xiang Cheng to let him know. In the guest room corridor on the second floor, there was the sound of footsteps. Keaton knocked carefully on the door of Zhi Xiaoduo's room, but no one answered. Kita walked down the stairs and was about to ask where Zhi Xiaoduo was, when Xiang Cheng replied in the garden, he's with Feng Li in the hot springs. Kita immediately turned to go back to his room to get his bathrobe when Xiang Cheng said, wait a minute, I have a few things to ask you. Come on. Kita took off his top while undoing his belt, and replied, can't you ask me later? I need to talk to the old Buddha. Xiang Cheng said. Kita said, if you help me get together with your steward, you can count on me doing that for you. I'm leaving now. Xiang Cheng said, what are you talking about? You want to have a soak with an eel. With his expression, Kita ran upstairs to get his bathrobe. In the corridor, a figure flashed past. Kita. Chao Thing. Kita yelled. Here. Chao Ben replied, what? Are you watching Jian Wen? Chao Ben held a drink cup and pushed the door open. Kita looked inside to see that Jian Wen was sitting in a chair. Kita waved his hand to show that he was fine, and turned to get his bathrobe. Downstairs, Chao Ben came along the corridor in the greenhouse, looked at Xiang Chang, and sat down at the table. Xiang Chang took a bottle of beer from behind the chair and gave it to Chao Ben. Chao Ben looked out of the greenhouse and could vaguely see a figure on the other side of the fence. Before I met you, I heard a lot about you. Chao Ben said to Xiang Chang. I still don't know who you are. Xiang Chang said coldly, is it meaningful to mention this? I heard that when you guys were in Guangzhou, you guys took turns to try and pick up my wife. Xiang Chang held the bottle and asked lazily, what did you guys mean by that? Isn't that obvious? Chao Ben replied, Chen Zhen asked them to protect Zhi Xiaoduo and remind him of the past as much as possible. They all agreed to do this. Kita and Chen Zhen. Xiang Chang said, all went, but why didn't you protect Xiaoduo? Why was it Xian Hezi instead? I was in charge of standing in the shadows to assist. Chao Ben said, Chen Zhen arranged it like that. It wasn't because you felt guilty. Xiang Chang said absently. Chao Ben raised his eyebrows slightly and looked at Xiang Chang. Qi Wei also did not come forward. Chao Ben said, you can't say he also felt guilty. Qi Wei's identity is different. Xiang Chang, holding the bottle and clinked it against Chao Ben's, saying, I don't mean anything else, I'm just treating you as a friend and saying this casually. Don't get me wrong. What you want to do has nothing to do with me. Chao Ben sighed and leaned back in his chair. ******. In the room, Jian Wen had the bag over his head, and the sack fluctuated slightly. Chao Ben, dressed in a suit, walked towards Jian Wen. Jian Wen suddenly felt danger approaching and struggled violently. He wanted to lean back with the chair, but the chair was caught by one hand. End chapter. Post-training notice. National First Class Registered Exorcist. Chapter 93. Devour. Behind the guest rooms was the exclusive VIP hot springs area. There was a single small pool, which was surrounded by several warm lights. The fragrance of spring flowers wafted on the wind, making the guests feel warm and comfortable. Zhi Xiaoduo and Fengli looked at each other. Zhi Xiaoduo felt that Fengli was really thin, but Fengli only looked at Zhi Xiaoduo casually and asked him to enter the hot springs carefully. Thank you. Zhi Xiaoduo said, if it wasn't for you this time, Xiang Chang and I might have never seen each other again. That time on the ship, we were in such a hurry that I didn't have the chance to thank you. I am the one who should thank you. Fengli folded a cold towel and had Zhi Xiaoduo lie on his back by the pool. He put the towel on his forehead and Zhi Xiaoduo let out a comfortable, trembling breath. It was you who took care of my younger twin brother. Fengli replied, only then were the shackles on me were unlocked. My dark side got eliminated and I got back everything that have belonged to me originally. When Zhi Xiaoduo thought of this, he felt very sorry and said, I'm sorry. No. Fengli replied, whose yin yang and I are like the cycle of yin and yang, fighting each other endlessly. We have no feelings for each other. We say we are twins but in reality, we are just the yin and yang sides of the nine-tailed celestial fox. It's just like your good and evil thoughts. Originally, he and I should have lived out our lives together but Mara planted a devil seed in his body, which made the yang part disappear and the yin part became dominate. Whose yin yang's power had already reached a level that I couldn't contain with. Sure enough, great prosperity heralds a decline, and out of the depths of misfortune comes bliss. He finally suffered a fatal blow from you, who has no magical power. Yes, Zhi Xiaoduo laughed. Fengli nodded slightly at Zhi Xiaoduo. Zhi Xiaoduo felt very comfortable talking with Fengli. Although the other party's tone was a bit aloof, very much like something out of a book, it was not annoying at all. Vaguely, it also seemed that his words contained some profound meaning that could not be explained but only understood. A fatal blow. Zhi Xiaoduo said, and yet, maybe he didn't regard me as an enemy at all. So, reality proves, Fengli replied, that it is not advisable to underestimate one's enemy. People who look like they are just playing around and have no combat effectiveness will often capsize their opponent's boat into the gutter. Zhi Xiaoduo nodded. There was only the sound of water in the pool. Fengli then said politely, I took the liberty of overhearing some of the conversation between you and the Grey Wolf this evening. Zhi Xiaoduo got embarrassed and said, well, it's like this, I am at your service. Fengli said, I will try my best to solve the problem peacefully and will not make things difficult for you. No, no. Zhi Xiaoduo felt that Fengli was too polite and said, I want to hear your thoughts. Hey. Why am I starting to use honorifics as well? How's this, can you call me Xiaoduo? Don't be so polite, I'm really not used to it. Zhi Xiaoduo patted Fengli's shoulder and thought, his skin is so tender and smooth, only Chen Lang can compete with him. Fengli said, okay, it'll be my pleasure. Zhi Xiaoduo wiped his face and said, Kita then. I also don't know what to do. Before, has anyone liked you before? Fengli replied, yes. Zhi Xiaoduo, how many times have you dated someone? Fengli was silent. Zhi Xiaoduo thought that he might have offended him, so he hurriedly said, it doesn't matter. It's like this, Kita is my good brother. What do you want to say? Zhi Xiaoduo found that Fengli seemed to want to speak but then simply waited patiently for Zhi Xiaoduo to finish speaking before he spoke. Zhi Xiaoduo quickly signaled for Fengli to speak first. Fengli said politely to Zhi Xiaoduo, just now, I was recalling the people who pursued me. There were about 1,170 of them but less than 60 people whom I actually fell in love with, or 57 to be exact. Zhi Xiaoduo. Is it because you have lived for a long time? The corners of Zhi Xiaoduo's mouth twitched. Yes. Fengli looked at the water, a little disappointed. All his lovers would grow old ahead of him and eventually pass away. In his thousands of years of life, they would always leave him in the end, to live out his lonely existence. Zhi Xiaoduo suddenly understood Fengli's mood at this moment. He reached out and rubbed the back of Fengli's neck. Fengli did not say anything. He just nodded to Zhi Xiaoduo to express his gratitude for commiserating. Do you want to fall in love right now? Zhi Xiaoduo asked, are you interested in livening things up a bit? I mean. Fengli thought for a while but it was a little difficult to answer. Zhi Xiaoduo said, it's fine if you have no interest in Kita at all. I'll go let him know, although I think he definitely won't give up. The rest is up to him. Gagantorura. Fengli answered, the Grey Wolf. He is a wolf and you are a fox. It's a pretty good match. Zhi Xiaoduo laughed. Fengli pondered. Zhi Xiaoduo's heart thumped, feeling as though they were in business, but Fengli said, but he is really too young. He is only in his 30s, and he can't even be counted as a wolf cub. Zhi Xiaoduo completely forgot about the problem of the age difference, and thinking about it like that, it did seem a bit harsh. I can't do it. Fengli said, he is too young, and I'll feel a bit guilty. Zhi Xiaoduo thought, oh no, Kita, you have no hope now. Asterisk. Chao Ben stretched out his neck, conjuring up a big mouth. He swallowed Jian Wen along with the chair, and the black fog dissipated. The monster's throat was full of bumps and bulges from the struggle, and then there was the dull sound of broken bones. However, a diddy sound in the monster's throat, as if something was letting out an alarm. The monster vomited out a deformed steel chair, turned around, opened the balcony door with its tentacles, and flew out. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. In the hot springs. What type do you like? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. Over 1,200 years old. Fengli said, it's best if their Yao power is higher than mine. There should be no one stronger than you now. Zhi Xiaoduo said, it seems that I have never seen one before. We are all very young children in your eyes, right? Fengli smiled, as faintly as if he had no expression at all. No other conditions? Zhi Xiaoduo asked. It's fine as long as there are feelings. Fengli said. N. Zhi Xiaoduo agreed, as long as there are feelings, it's all good. He raised his head, looking up at the starry sky. Suddenly, a black shadow flew by. Zhi Xiaoduo squinted, feeling keenly that something was wrong. What was that? Fengli immediately looked up, and Zhi Xiaoduo pointed to the sky. The black shadow was emitting purple light from all over its body as it flew to the northwest corner. I can't see anything. Fengli said, wait. Fengli jumped out of the water, and Zhi Xiaoduo immediately followed him out of the hot spring pool. Fengli threw his bathrobe to Zhi Xiaoduo, and Zhi Xiaoduo put it on. Fengli was completely naked and knelt on one knee. Suddenly, his whole body turned snow white, and he shook out 9 huge tails. Zhi Xiaoduo did not say a word more, instead he clambered up on his back. The 9-tailed celestial fox rose from the ground, and raised its head to let out a howl. Everyone in the hotel was startled, and the 9-tailed fox flew into the sky with Zhi Xiaoduo. Xiang Cheng put down the beer bottle, walked out of the greenhouse cafe quickly and said, what's going on? Here I come. Kita took off all his clothes and jumped into the hot spring. Where is everyone? Kita didn't know what was going on. Chao Ben walked upstairs quickly. The room was empty. Zhi Xiaoduo rode on Fengli's back, with several of his huge tails wrapped around him. The cold wind blew, and Fengli shouted, where is it? I can't see it. It's up ahead. Zhi Xiaoduo said, go faster. We're going to catch up to it soon. In the dark night, the 9-tailed celestial fox ran through the air, leaving a gorgeous path of light where it ran. The black Yao ahead had noticed that it was being followed. It turned around and dived towards the dense forest. Zhi Xiaoduo, we have to inform Xiang Cheng. It's too late. Fengli replied, they will find us. Where is it? What is it? At the end of the dense forest was a road, and opposite the road was a cliff. It's a dowdy. Zhi Xiaoduo said, it's Jinghao. Jinghao. The pupils of the 9-tailed fox suddenly contracted, and it changed into a snow-white steed in the air. Its whole body glowed with a strong light, illuminating the whole forest. The jade lion shining in the night. Zhi Xiaoduo shouted, that's really too handsome. Fengli didn't answer, looking left and right while rushing into the forest. There was a sound of branches breaking in front of them and Zhi Xiaoduo said, go around. Fengli transformed once more, into a black panther. He carried Zhi Xiaoduo up the trees and jumped between the branches. Zhi Xiaoduo said, left, right, upper left corner, go down. The panther turned into a bear and ran straight into the running dowdy. The black bear roared, slapped the dowdy with one hand and made it go flying. The dowdy roared and rushed forward to fight with the black bear. Zhi Xiaoduo was thrown to the ground, and the dowdy threw off the black bear. It rushed at Zhi Xiaoduo, who shouted, Fengli. Zhi Xiaoduo rushed toward the end of the forest, crossed a road, and jumped into the air. There was a cliff on the opposite side, and Zhi Xiaoduo flew off the cliff. The dowdy leapt into the air with all 4 limbs extended, flapped its wings, and tried to form a spiral through the air to slow down the fall. As Zhi Xiaoduo was in the air, Fengli turned into a strange giant eagle. It rushed towards Zhi Xiaoduo, catching him on its back. The dowdy rushed overhead first, and the giant eagle stretched out its 2 claws, opened its beak, and spat out fire. Zhi Xiaoduo held the eagle's neck tightly, and when the Daodi rushed over, it also opened its mouth and blew out black flames. The 2 monsters breathed fire and collided with each other. Where they collided, the fires spun around and around, illuminating the dark night. There was a bottomless abyss below. The battlefield of Yao was unfolding at the top of Wolong Tiankang, and in this 1 minute of battle, Zhi Xiaoduo realized a serious problem. The power of the Daodi had become stronger. Prepare to withdraw. Zhi Xiaoduo felt the danger and said, "Don't fight anymore." The 2 mouthfuls of flame were opposing each other, and neither the Daodi or Fengli could escape. If either of them withdrew, the other party's Yao breath would rush in with overwhelming force and seriously burn the other. Zhi Xiaoduo was just wearing a bathrobe and hadn't brought anything with him. He was very anxious as he watched this. The Daodi's breath weapon in its throat seemed to be gathering strength throughout its body. Fengli's illusory giant eagle wings flapped, and it was suspended in the air, making every effort to resist the increasingly strong fire of the Daodi. Zhi Xiaoduo observed that the fire gushing out of the Daodi was periodic, and the flame breath rushed out in waves. "I'm going to count 3, 2, 1. Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Get ready." Fengli did not answer. His whole body trembled, his wings stretched to the limit, and his feathers stood upright. Zhi Xiaoduo roared, "Retreat." Fengli closed his wings, protecting Zhi Xiaoduo as he spiraled down into the deep abyss. A gush of fire came out of the Daodi's mouth, which immediately ignited the trees near the Tiankang. In the dark, it suddenly became a sea of fire. Fengli hit the ground, and then turned into a 9-tailed fox. He turned his head and shouted, "Zhi Xiaoduo." Zhi Xiaoduo was hanging on a tree, and the Daodi rushed down from the sky, spewing fire everywhere. "Here!" Zhi Xiaoduo shouted. The 9-tailed fox leaped up, and Zhi Xiaoduo fell down from the tree and grabbed the white fur at its collar. Fengli said sharply, "The Daodi has become stronger. It ate the black-winged great pen." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "Go around and wait for Xiang Chen." The 9-tailed celestial fox wanted to attack the Daodi, who was looking for the 2 of them everywhere, but Zhi Xiaoduo held it back. They hid in the dense forest, and the Daodi's 4 paws snapped branches as it walked towards them. "Did-a-die, did-a-die." Zhi Xiaoduo heard a slight sound, which seemed to come from the Daodi's belly. "What's that?" Zhi Xiaoduo looked at Fengli, and Fengli's eyes were full of doubts. The Daodi stood there, stretched out its neck, and vomited. After a moment, it vomited out a small device glowing with a red light, covered in blood and meat. "That's a transmitter. What's the meaning of this? What did the Daodi just eat?" When Zhi Xiaoduo was sneaking a glance, Fengli signaled Zhi Xiaoduo to look above its head. A giant wolf stretched out its head and looked at the ground. It wanted to jump out a few times, itching to have a go, before it then jumped down with all 4 limbs extended. The Daodi was looking everywhere for the 1 person and 1 fox who had fallen down, but suddenly, a huge wolf jumped off the cliff and fell from the more than 200 feet high Tiansheng San Kiao. It pounced onto the Daodi using all 4 paws with a tremendous thud, causing all of the Tiankang to tremble. "Kita!" The grey wolf and the Daodi rolled together, and the Daodi couldn't do anything but turn into black mist. It flew tens of meters away to gather and reform, then it spread out the black wings of the great pen and rushed towards the grey wolf. The 2 giant beasts rose at the same time, crashing into each other, crushing trees. Bricks and stones flew everywhere. "Go!" Chao Ben rushed down from the top of a tree. Zhi Xiaoduo knew that help was coming, but Xiang Chen didn't show up. He thought that he must be waiting for the chance to kill Jinghao. The 9-tailed fox ran to the elevator shaft with Zhi Xiaoduo, however, the Daodi managed to butt its head against the grey wolf, slamming it against the elevator shaft. The elevator shaft attached to the cliff immediately got broken and collapsed. At the moment when the elevator shaft was forced down, a thick snake tail appeared in front of Zhi Ziyaduo, hooking itself around the iron frame. Hundreds of tons of steel supports made a loud dang sound as they whirred and flew towards the dowdy. The dowdy's head spun with the collision, and Zhi Ziyaduo pounced on and hugged the snake's tail. He felt that he was being carried straight up by the boss snake. It slithered along the cliff for hundreds of meters, before the boss snake curled around the cliff and then swept past like a dragon. When it landed, it pushed Zhi Ziyaduo gently, and Xiao Ben rushed over and caught him. "You guys go first." The boss snake talked with Xiang Cheng's voice, its forked tongue flicking out. "Don't go up." Xiao Ben shouted, "Find another way. Our hotel is surrounded. Don't go back to the hotel." Just as Zhi Ziyaduo was about to ask, the grey wolf fell down towards them. Fengli immediately turned back into a person, pushed out with a single palm against the grey wolf's back, and sent the huge beast flipping over in the air, straight back at the dowdy again. The bluish-grey glowing wolf and the dowdy slammed into each other repeatedly as they fought across the length of the battlefield and rolled back again. It was early in the morning, and the fog covered the valley. Xiao Ben shouted, "Go to the Sanqiao. I'll take care of the array here." Fengli shouted, "You guys should leave quickly." There were 3 natural stone bridges spanning the whole of the Tiankang. Zhi Ziyaduo was in front, and Xiao Ben was running behind as they ran along the plank road to the scenic spot's exit. Suddenly, Zhi Ziyaduo stopped and looked up. The 2 people stood under the waterfall and faintly heard the roar of helicopters. It was already broad daylight, and the 4 helicopters lowered their altitude and fired, hitting the dowdy and the grey wolf in the Tiankang. With a roar, the boss snake, who was lurking in the forest, rushed out and bit one of the helicopters, dragged it down and slammed it against the ground, causing the helicopter to explode. Then someone appeared at the top of the cliff, holding a megaphone. They yelled, "Don't fight anymore, you've all been surrounded." "Exorcists," Zhi Ziyaduo said. The helicopter turned around and strafed the group, forming a circle around the cliff. The scene immediately fell into chaos, and Xiao Ben said, "The Exorcists and Jinghao's people are fighting. Let's hurry up and go. Follow the plan. Split up," Fengli said. In an instant, the grey wolf and the 9-tailed celestial fox rose high into the air. The grey wolf shifted back into Kita, his bathrobe flapping as he landed on the 9-tailed celestial fox's back. The 9-tailed celestial fox changed into a huge white falcon and rushed out of the encirclement with Kita. The boss snake wrapped one tail around the dowdy and threw it towards the rock wall. Rocks collapsed, and the boss snake didn't continue fighting but rushed towards them. Xiao Ben and Zhi Ziyaduo jumped out of the cave together. The boss snake quickly entered the water, before its island-like snake head floated up, lifting up Zhi Ziyaduo and Xiao Ben as it crossed the cave and left swiftly. The sky behind was lit with bright lights, and the helicopter flew towards the north. It ate Jianwen. Xiao Ben said, "Jianwen had a transmitter in his body, and once he dies, the transmitter will lead his men over." "That's bad." Zhi Ziyaduo said, "We have to hurry and let the exorcists know." "Will Jinghao become?" The ground under the 2 men's feet shook, and Zhi Ziyaduo's words broke off. The boss snake flew out of the water and glided over the plain. It then shook Zhi Ziyaduo and Xiao Ben off, turned over in the air and turned into Xiang Cheng, who held Zhi Ziyaduo in his arms. "Go." Xiang Cheng said, "Just now, at least 2 groups of people are now fighting. One group is the Chongqing exorcists who are looking for us, and the other are Jianwen's subordinates who have come to save him." A car stopped at the side of the road, and Lang Dog shouted, "Get on, get on." Xiang Cheng made Lang Dog sit in the back, while Zhi Ziyaduo, wearing a bathrobe, sat in the front passenger seat and fastened his seat belt. Xiang Cheng backed up, drove at the highest speed and left Wolong. "The hotel has been surrounded by Jianwen's men." Xiang Cheng said, "I can't go back for the time being. Xian Hezi took Teacher Bai away, so we're going to take a shortcut to Fengdu." Zhi Ziaduo was completely exhausted, but Xiang Cheng had one hand on the steering wheel while rubbing his head. I didn't bring anything. Zhi Ziaduo said, this is terrible. Everything is in the bag. Xiang Cheng said, Lang dog, take out the clothes. Zhi Ziaduo changed into his clothes and said, unable to cry or laugh, my hot springs soak. Next time, we'll go somewhere else to soak. Xiang Cheng replied, when I was sitting in the garden, I remembered something. What is it? Zhi Ziaduo's heart thumped. My father found my mother in the mountains. Xiang Cheng replied, when I was very young, my mother took me to that place. Zhi Ziaduo, ah. That's probably where she woke up. Xiang Cheng said, and it goes with what Bai Su said about another sacred land. Zhi Ziaduo, do you still remember where it is? I hope it hasn't been flooded. Xiang Cheng replied, that was a very big place, and it was crushed by the collapse of the mountain. I may remember when I get to the foot of the mountain. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. Smoke filled the Tianquan. The local police had also come, and fire engines sprayed water down the cliff to put out the fire. What exactly happened here? Calling, ladder team 2. At the edge of the cliff, people began to climb down with ropes and harnesses. Several helicopters landed. One hand, covered in wounds, pushed away the stones and climbed out. Minister Jian Wen leaned against the edge of the cliff to catch his breath, and an evil smile appeared on his lips. Connect me with Beijing. Jian Wen climbed into the helicopter. At noon, the off-road vehicle bumped as it entered the mountain road in an ancient forest. Zhi Ziaduo woke up from the jostling and heard the conversation between Chao Bin and Xiang Cheng. No signal. Chao Bin replied, we can't confirm Kita's position and the GPS isn't working. No need to look at the GPS. Xiang Cheng said, I've been here before. Xiang Cheng backed up, hit the bushes, and ran over them in a crushing manner. He shifted gears, then floored the accelerator. The off-road vehicle flew over a gully, stirring up mud everywhere, leaving 2 tracks on the plain. What exactly was that guy? Xiang Cheng asked. He is a dowdy. Chao Bin explained, very dangerous. I heard Kikai talk about it before. Zhi Ziaduo said, he was one of the Blood Devil's experimental subjects, teacher Zheng Shizi. This skill goes too much against the natural order, you become what you eat, so will it become stronger and stronger? Chao Bin replied, I don't know. Up until now, the Exorcist Committee has not found a way to control the secret arts used by the Blood Devil. We must get rid of it as soon as possible, Zhi Ziaduo said. Chao Bin sighed and said, it's all my fault that this guy's power has gone out of control. If it eats Mara, Zhi Ziaduo said, won't it all be over for us? Xiang Cheng suddenly glanced at Zhi Ziaduo and murmured, so it's like that. Now I got it. What? Zhi Ziaduo looked confused. There is a cell phone in the bag. Try to contact Fengli. Xiang Cheng said. We were soaking in the hot spring, and he didn't take his cell phone with him when we ran out halfway through. Zhi Ziaduo found the cell phone. Xiang Cheng, Huang Shan will meet them at the junction of Fengdu and Wolong. They should be there soon. Kita rode on Fengli's back, and the 9-tailed celestial fox crossed through the dense forest, jumped up a tree, and leaped from tree to tree. Come and ride me, Ba. Kita said with concern, are you tired? Fengli said, it's best that you ride me, Ba. Kita said, no, come ride me. Fengli didn't respond to Kita's proposal. Kita laughed and said, last time you used a machine gun to strap me, that scared me a lot. I didn't know whether you were a friend or an enemy back then. Fengli leaped up and down the mountain with his paws flying in the air. I apologize for taking the liberty of using force. It's fine. Kita casually rubbed Fengli's head. Please don't touch my ears. Fengli's voice said. Kita immediately apologized, and Fengli stopped talking again. Green mountains covered the area, with 100,000 acres of untouched forests, and trees teeming with life everywhere. The vehicles became small points on the winding mountain road. When Fengli stopped on a prominent rock, Kita asked, "Are you tired? Switch with me, ba." Fengli did not answer. He looked into the distance as if he was trying to judge the direction. After a moment, he turned around and entered the forest along the northeast. Kita then asked, "Have you ever lived abroad?" Fengli didn't answer. Kita thought a bit and then asked, "Do you usually watch anime?" "No." Fengli answered politely. Kita. For Kita, dealing with Fengli was like a mouse pulling along a turtle. No matter what he said, it was like facing an iceberg who could not express happiness or anger. Kita thought hard and finally came up with something to say. "You actually don't smell like anything," Kita said sincerely. Fengli. "That's right." Kita then asked, "Do you like chicken? There is a chicken restaurant in Beijing that is very delicious." "I'm a fox," said the nine-tailed fox under Kita. "You've misunderstood, I'm not a weasel." Kita was stuck again. Kita's face was a little red. Fengli's fur was soft and fine, and the white fur was very clean. This was a huge test for Kita, who only had a bathrobe on and nothing else. After leaving Wolong, through the whole journey, Kita felt that his crotch was hard. As Fengli leaped through the forest, Kita's big and powerful thing was buried in the fox's fur. Being stimulated by numerous soft, fine hairs, Kita had turned completely red and was trembling. "Just go a little, slowly," Kita said. "Fengli, we need to arrive at the command center before noon." Kita said, "You'd better ride me, ba. I'm about to lose it." Fengli. Kita gritted his teeth, and Fengli said, "Are you carsick? I will try my best to remain steady." "No, no, no." Kita said, "Stop." Kita considered whether to sit side saddle, but that seemed too feminine. Fengli stopped short, and Kita flopped forward with the momentum, his whole body plunging into the soft fur on the fox's back. With the friction up front, he felt tens of thousands of hairs brush over his most sensitive part. Kita froze. "Better?" Fengli asked. Kita. Fengli sprang up again and said, "Please sit still, we are almost there." Fengli's fur puffed out. At that moment, Kita's expression became very strange, and he began to recite the Diamond Sutra. The spring sun shone on them. Half an hour later, Fengli flew across the sky and saw a car on the ground. "We're here," Fengli replied, then bowed his back and landed on the ground. Kita. Fengli suddenly stopping meant that Kita fell forward again. He uncontrollably twitched, and his expression was extremely strange for a full 10 seconds. Lord Fengli. After the off-road vehicle stopped, Huang Shan opened the door, and all his men got out of the car and saluted the nine-tailed fox. Waves and undercurrents surged in Kita's heart. "Would it be convenient for you to get off?" Fengli turned his head and asked Kita on his back. Kita got off of his back very stiffly. Huang Shan took out a folded suit, underpants and shirt while Fengli asked them, "Bring some water." Huang Shan handed him some mineral water. Fengli bit it open with his teeth, turned around, and said, "Help me rinse off my back." "What is this?" Huang Shan sniffed. Fengli replied, "Don't ask." Kita stood behind the tree, holding his forehead with one hand. Huang Shan's subordinate handed over his cell phone, which showed Zhi Xiaoduo calling. "Thank God." Zhi Xiaoduo said, "I finally got in touch with you. How is your situation over there?" "I want to rest quietly," Kita answered, crying without tears. Zhi Xiaoduo said anxiously on the phone, "Call Chen Zhen quickly. Jinghao has eaten Jian Wen. He can transform into Jian Wen." Have Chen Zhen remove all of Jian Wen's permissions immediately. Kita said, understood. Zhi Xiaoduo replied, we have arrived at Tutu town. How much longer will you guys be? Zhi Xiaoduo, Chao Ben, Xiang Cheng, and Lang Dog were having lunch in front of a small noodle shop. Are you with Fengli? Zhi Xiaoduo got a rare chance to show some care to Kita and asked, what did he say? If you don't mention this, we can still be friends. Kita's voice came from the phone. Zhi Xiaoduo, all right then, please hurry up. Kita hung up the call and had an expression of there is no love in this world. Huang Shan's subordinate came over with a bag and handed him his sportswear. Kita changed behind the tree. He had no underwear, so he had to make do without. After a moment, Fengli had put on a slim suit, and Huang Shan put his studs in his ears. Fengli left and made a please gesture towards Kita. Excuse me, but do you require Lihan pollen? Fengli asked politely. Kita. Fengli put on some sunglasses and handed a small bottle to Kita. You guys actually have this too? Kita said, you didn't specially prepare this for me, did you? You are joking. Fengli replied, I have lived for 1,000 years, and sometimes I will sniff some once in a while. Kita said, I'd better not. Forget it, let's have some ba. Kita sniffed some Lihan pollen, looked a little confused, and then looked at Fengli. Did something happen just now? Kita asked. No. Fengli put on sunglasses and said, I said we should hurry and not make them wait too long. Kita asked, why am I holding this? Fengli took it back and put it away. The off-road vehicle took off as they went to meet with Xiang Cheng. Zhi Xiaoduo ate noodles, and he was so sleepy that his head was about to fall in his bowl. Everyone was very tired. Take a rest after eating. Xiang Cheng said. I'm fine. Zhi Xiaoduo said, it's almost over. Chao Ben looked at the mountains. From here to the north was the Fengdu mountain region. Daba mountain formed a watershed between the Jialing River and Han River. Far to the northeast, through mountains and dense fog, was the legendary Mount Wu. The golden arrows were somewhere on Mount Ba. Maybe they would reach the end of their journey soon. Eat some more. Xiang Cheng said, it's very likely we'll spend the next few days in the mountains. Si Gui flew over from a distance and landed in front of the dinner table with a bird call. Lang Dog stretched out his hand to grab its tail, but Si Gui fluttered away, jumping onto Xiang Cheng's shoulder, where it looked around uneasily. Someone is approaching here. Xiang Cheng grabbed Si Gui, held it in the palm of his hand, and released it again. Si Gui circled 3 times in the sky and flew to the east. There are a lot of people. Xiang Cheng said. Zhi Xiaoduo took out his wallet, counted out some money, and put it on the table. The phone rang. Dudu town is surrounded by the Yaoguai that Jinghao brought. Fengli said, I don't know why they came to attack you, but you have to leave immediately. Xiang Cheng went to drive the car. Zhi Xiaoduo grabbed his bag, and the 4 people got into the car. Xiang Cheng drove along the back roads of the town. End chapter.